My name is Carmen Davis, and this is my recording of the Arizona differences between initiatives and referendums. Okay. An initiative is the method by which voters may propose new laws or amend existing laws by gathering signatures from registered voters to place the issue on the ballot. So what happens is a person gets an organization to help sponsor them with their paperwork, and then they have an idea for an initiative, something that they want to change on the existing laws or create a new law, and then they would gather signatures to put that initiative on the ballot. So that's an initiative. A referendum is the method by which a voter may veto a law or part of a law by gathering signatures by registered voters to be placed on the ballot. So instead of an initiative, a referendum looks at a law that's already in place and says, I want to change this law or part of the law. And then a person gets an organization to sponsor them towards getting the signatures to get a referendum on the ballot. Initiatives are created by a person that has to, or an organization that has to get the signatures on the ballot. They have 4 months. The deadline is 4 months until the general election. So since we have a general election coming up in November, the deadline is July 3rd for all of the signatures. And if they get all of their signatures by that time, then it will be placed on the general election ballot. And like I said, for this year, for 2024, it is July 3rd is the deadline for all of their signatures. For a constitutional amendment, so you will need 383,923 signatures to be placed on the ballot. And for an initiative, it would be 255,949. So for a constitutional amendment, if you wanted to change it, you would need 383,923 signatures. If you wanted to get an initiative on the ballot, you would need 255,949 signatures. And for a referendum, you would need 127,975 signatures. And the deadline for referendum is the same. It's July 3rd, 2024 for this year. An initiative requires more signatures. A yes vote for the initiative means when on the ballot, if you vote yes for the initiative, that means you want the initiative the new initiative to change and go through. If you vote no on the initiative, that means you want the law to stay in place like it is. And then the people that want the signatures on the ballot and did all the work, then the answer is no, it gets voted down. So if you vote yes in favor of an initiative, that means you want the initiative to go through. If you vote no, that means that you don't want a new initiative in place, and the new law or the law will just be as it is. The referendum is kind of different. It's a little bit confusing. So if someone has a referendum, if you want the referendum to pass, you would vote yes, like keep the law in place. If you vote no on the referendum, that means that you do want to veto the law that's already in place. So it's kind of confusing. The referendum means I brought a referendum forward. I do not want this law to stand, so I'm going to vote no on the law, and that's the referendum. Okay, a little confusing. That's one of the cons of all of this. The last petition for a referendum was filed September of 2022. It did not pass. It only had 86,700 640 signatures. And as we previously stated, in order for a referendum to pass, you have to have over 100,000 signatures. This referendum that did not pass only had 86,000 signatures. And so that's the last one that has even tried, according to the state of Arizona Secretary of State's website. That was the last one to be on a ballot, and it did not, or try to be on a ballot, and it did not go through. On the other hand, initiatives, there are at least, I counted like 4 initiatives for the November election and 1 constitutional amendment. Now, keep in mind, the constitutional amendment needs 383,000 signatures to make it onto the ballot. So there are several initiatives coming up in November for Arizona residents, and then 1 constitutional amendment. Pros and cons. The pros of this initiative and referendum, the way that it's set up for the state of Arizona, is that it definitely encourages participation in the election process, not only to just go vote, the day of the general election, but actually participate in looking at the Arizona Constitution, looking at the laws, looking at the amendments, and saying what needs to be changed. And so that grassroots effort of election day, not just being getting people to the polls to vote, but actually taking the initiative to say, you know what, let's look at this law, let's propose a new law, let's change some things. So it definitely encourages that in the state of Arizona, and that's what I found. Here in Michigan, I quite honestly don't know. I don't think it's that open to citizens coming up with initiatives. I'm not sure what the process is, but that's definitely a pro of what I read about the Arizona Constitution. So the con of this process is that there is a lot of paperwork. It is very, very, there's a lot of red tape, rightfully so, but the process is very lengthy. There's definitely a lot of things that have to take place in order to get in place to get the signatures, to get the sponsorship from an organization that's going to help you get the signatures and everything, and get your paperwork in. Make sure that you get your signatures in and everything in by July 3rd. So there's just a lot of paperwork involved. I'm not sure if it's in place to discourage people from doing the initiatives, or if it's just, if you really, really want it, you'd go through this whole process. But I definitely think that that's a con of why someone wouldn't go through the process, is that it is a lot of paperwork. And then I do think that the initiative and referendum process in Arizona is definitely what the founders, or what we say about direct democracy in action. So just the fact that you don't have to go through a state legislator to, beg them to take your initiative up. You, someone in Arizona, could, get the paperwork together, get someone to sponsor them, but it doesn't have to be an elected official that starts that process, where you're just waiting around hoping that your cause sees the light of day. There's definitely some ownership in the direct democracy of the initiative of the state of Arizona, where the citizens are encouraged to, like I said, look at the Constitution, see what needs to be changed. I was amazed to find out that Arizona has 160 amendments. So that means that process is definitely in working. So thank you for the opportunity to share what I learned about Arizona initiatives and referendums. Goodbye.